Hey guys, how's it going? I'm back with another 10 metal bands you haven't heard but should. Got a nice mixed bag of stuff this week. No LPs this time and only one tape, but that is the nature of the beast. So first up from Finland, we have Sepulchral Curse, who share a vocalist with Solothus, who I had on recently. Great death doom. Now Sepulchral Curse is definitely still, at least on this album, more in that old school kind of doomy death metal, but they also really do have some Blackened elements coming through, and they have a new album out also on Transcending Obscurity, who did this one. So if you're sort of looking for that kind of finished death but with some Blackened touches to it, it's really good material, really eerie. I love the artwork on this one, very old school. But yeah, Sepulchral Curse, great Blackened death from Finland, and this one is the second newest album. At the onset, I thought that said Gospel of Extinction. That makes more sense. So yeah, check them out. And like I say, they have a new record out, so also check that out. It's really good. Next up, we have Shezmu, who I believe, I want to say a Canadian, I think, but don't quote me on that. I'm terrible at knowing where bands are from. This is their new album in French. I'm not going to try and say it. It's like A Travers le Lambeau or something, on a Cruciator, great war metal label. Now, what sets this apart from the likes of their label mates like the Black Sorcery and Antichrist Siege Machine, which are both great, they've both been on here before, is Shezmu are definitely more doomy, like, still very much in that war metal vein, like, kind of very raw, Blackened death, very aggressive, but they have these doomy kind of Goat Lord hooks, so if you're a fan of that band, classic of course, then, and you prefer these kind of doomier hooks like on the Scum Collapse Eradication album by Revenge, that has those kind of really morbid grooves, and I think Shezmu nail it. I think this is some of the more interesting war metal to come out recently, along with the likes of Witchbones and Cult of Extinction. Yeah, definitely really cool stuff. You know I love my war metal, and this is something that just stands out a bit for me, I guess, with those aforementioned doomy elements. Next up, if we can see it, we have the new Diath, I think you say it, album, To Crown All Befoulment, which is on, again, if you can see it, Sentient Ruin Laboratories. Now, this is a really cool one. As you know, I love my kind of cavernous, blackened, creepy death stuff. In the vein of, you know, I always give these as a reference point, but like Cruciamentum, Dead Congregation, Grave Miasma, just 'cause I think they're bands that people will know, and so it makes for a good comparison, like Incantation to a lesser extent and stuff like that. It's got this really kind of begrudging thing. You play it and you really have to fight with it almost. It's so heavy and intense. It's got buckets of atmosphere. It's probably the most atmospheric death metal album I've heard this year. It's got this really cool artwork as well, which kind of reminds me of Vicar Amelia from Bloodborne, which is not a bad thing. And to all Americans, it's Vicar, not Vicar. Long story. But yeah, Dearth definitely just nailed that blackened, eerie, kind of atmospheric, otherworldly death metal stuff. It's really, really good. I want to say debut. I don't know if they did an EP or a shorter album before. So yeah, someone do that research for me. But anyway, that's the new album and it kills, so listen to that. Next up, we have something on the complete other end of the atmospheric spectrum. We have Serment from Quebec. Of course, the Quebec bands on Sepulchral Productions, they have their own little thing going. They're not kind of Canadian black metal, it's Quebec. And this is the latest, one of the latest offerings from Serment. It's the debut album, and it also has a title in French. So Google that, so I don't have to say it. Now, where this differs a bit more from the likes of Fortress, Ossuaire, Monarch, etc., etc., is it sort of steps more into the kind of dungeon synthy ambient stuff, but still very firmly in the black metal camp, along with the likes of, say, Ringare and some of Alex Pool's various projects, Guardscaster, of course. That kind of very intense, swirling, kind of murky ambient black metal, and I love that style. I much prefer that to the over-the-top kind of gallopy synths, so Serment really nailed it for me, and I think as far as atmospheric type black metal goes, this is going to come out on the top this year. So yeah, definitely if you like the Quebec black metal scene and you like the more ambient side of things, definitely check that one out. Now another one from Sepulchral Productions and of course Quebec is Somber Heritage. This is Alpha Ursae Minoris, which I'm guessing is Latin. This is a bit more kind of traditional, I guess, for black metal. It's got some kind of Finnish atmospheric, some very kind of French, old school French black metal kind of depressive riffs, if that makes sense. So it's very melancholic, but it still retains the aggression. It's not kind of those wimpy, you know, girlfriend broke up with me kind of depressive bands. It's like the visceral, self-loathing kind of stuff, which is the depressive camp in which I prefer to sit. But yeah, Somber Heritage is a really impressive album. Very emotionally complex, but at the same time it has quite a stripped back 90s feel to it that for me I think will please a lot of people. Now we have some jolly old school Black-Thrash from Blackevil. Well, it's all one word, so Blackevil. This is on FDA Records. Another band with a new album dropping, which I think is coming with Dying Victims Productions, because I've reviewed it recently, and that's what I want to say. This is the previous work, The Ceremonial Fire. Now, of course, it's going to be easy to compare them to the likes of Niflheim and such, and not wrongly so, especially like Ern from Finland, Condor from Norway. However, there is a band I mentioned either last time or the time before called Galower from Poland. And it has that very similar first record battery kind of black magic kind of feel to the Black-Thrash madness that I think Galower will be a very good comparison as a newer band doing that kind of thing. But of course, harkening back, you know, battery. And maybe even some touches of the very, very early Celtic Frost stroke Hellhammer stuff. I'd say more Celtic Frost than Hellhammer. But yeah, really kind of intricate and quite atmospheric for Black-Thrash stuff, and definitely has that more occult feel of the late 80s to early 90s movement than, say, the more kind of debaucherous chaos of the earlier bands from South America. So yeah, definitely check that one out if you're into those more eerie Black-Thrash bands, but still, you know, you want some barbaric material. Next, on a much more stripped back note, we have Devastator from here in the UK. These guys are a really cool band. Label mates, of course, over at Clubber Records, who put this out on CD and tape. It's a really good debut album. They've put out, I think, a couple singles and a live track or something. It's very much, you know, as a lot of you guys by now are going to be familiar with Hellripper from me talking about them, and Midnight and those kinds of bands. It's more in the kind of speedy, catchy vein of Black-Thrash than the kind of more malevolent kind of style. Still, we've got some battery coming in and such, like, especially the kind of very battery and venom-esque use of the goat image, which never looks bad on a record, in my opinion. So yeah, if you are not familiar, there is some really interesting stuff coming out in the UK scene, and Devastator are definitely one of them. A lot of people have been posting this one. It's great to see them doing so well, and Clubber Records getting some more clout. So yeah, if you like kind of straightforward, balls to the wall, black speed thrash, check out Devastator. They do a really cool job of that. Now we have some more creepy death metal from Australia this time on Ironbone Head Productions. This is Temple Nightside. Now this is Recondemnation. Yeah, I did say that right. Cool. How did I remember that one but not the simple ones? I will not know. But yeah, this artwork pretty much sums how it sounds if you're familiar with bands like Abyssal, that kind of My Lingar being another one, that kind of monolithic, churning, unhinged Blackened death that just makes you feel like you're kind of convulsing to it more than listening to it. Then Temple Nightside is right where you want to be. This is probably one of my favourite not new, but kind of currently performing acts out of the Australian country. So it's down under death. It's very fucking good. It's eerie. It's so malicious. Honestly, it feels like something's going to jump out the speaker and strangle you to fucking death when you listen to this. So if you want that kind of death metal, black metal experience that just takes you somewhere else, Temple Nightside is really going to be there. And they're another band who have a new release coming. It's either just come out or it's just about to come out, still on Ironbone Head. So go over to Iron Bonehead and check it out if it's out, or if not, keep your eyes peeled for it, because it's really good. And once again, you can read my review on the Natskog WordPress, if you can be bothered. If not, just go and listen to everything they've done, because it's all pretty damn good. And now, while we're over with the Iron Bonehead team, well, Patrick, we have the new Khthoniik Cervix album with the title Eichfitzoicum. You say it better. This is really nuts. It's very hard to describe this band to someone who's not heard them. They did a demo. I think this is the second or third album, or there might have been an EP in there. But yeah, this is the new one. It's probably the most mental death black metal record of the year. And I think the best way to take it is, say you divide them into kind of 4 camps. They take a bit of Portal, a bit of Sadistic Execution, a bit of Demolish, and a bit of some kind of weird, I don't know where the hell they got it from. They're incredibly unique. I don't think you're going to find many bands that sound like Khthoniik Cervix. They're very futuristic, as you can see from these song titles, which is kind of weird, at least aesthetically speaking. Like, this looks very kind of cosmic. But yeah, I'm really struggling to figure out what to say about this band, other than that they do weird black and death metal incredibly well. Like I say, imagine Sadistic Execution meets Portal and Demolish and just goes to fucking space. That's what it sounds like, and it is damn good. And one of the better records released of recent, in my opinion. And closing this, we have more cavernous, creepy death metal, because I can. Vacivus, absolutely phenomenal band. They've dropped a new album. This is on Profound Lore, as is their new one. They feature 1 or 2 members of Cruciamentum. It's a bit more straightforward than Cruciamentum. There's still the doomy bits there for kind of texture, but it's not as main focus. This is much more just kind of very visceral, yet still atmospheric death metal that is just really damn good. Like, you know, if you like the more kind of I guess ritualistic sounding old school death metal, Vacivus is probably going to be right up your street. I really love this album, and their new one is really good too. This is just the one I happened to pick up lately, so I figured I'd show this one. But check out their new one too. Profound Lore, great label. Vacivus, great murky, evil death metal goodness. And with that, we have 10 new bands for you guys to go and listen to, until I have 10 more bands for you guys to go and listen to. So until next time, thank you for watching, and stay metal.